and welcome to our base lesson. And as you can see on the board, day is on 31st. Our lesson is going to be on paragraph formation. And remember, this is not the paragraph that you normally see in writing compositions. These paragraphs are the ones that normally done in examination a number of times. So being told to, we have been given 3 or 4 sentences to make a sensible paragraph, or you may be given even 5 to 6 sentences to see which one will come first and which one will come last to form a sensible paragraph. So as you can see on the board, I have only 2 examples to give you today to make you be acquainted with the knowledge to be able to use those sentences well to form a sensible paragraph. So I want us only to see what are the rules. What are the rules that we are going to consider in this particular state? What are the rules we are going to see so that to enable us to make a good paragraph? So with me here, some few things I've written. I've said that you have to consider the noun. If there are so many, like we are going to look at them, my rules number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and 5, as we look at this. The first example is, we have been told to be given this. He goes to school early. His classmates love him because he is because of his kindness. We are seeing Tom is a reliable boy. So now, as you can see this, we go for the what? We go for the noun. So which one is here becomes our main noun? We begin with Tom. Tom here is the noun. So that sentence that contains the main noun, or the sentence that contains the main subject. So the noun is normally the subject of a sentence. You are referred to it as a subject. So Tom here is our main subject. Tom is whom we are referring to in this sentence. All the things we're going to talk about here are about Tom. So Tom is a responsible boy. That is going to be our first sentence. This one we write that entire number. So we begin with Roman 3. Roman 3 becomes our first sentence that contains the main subject or the main noun in that sentence. Then what is next? Do we say he goes to school early or his classmates love him because of his kindness? In this case, we're going to go for what? For the pronoun, the first pronoun there, that is he. He goes to school early. Will be now our number 2. The pronoun. I know that this is also a pronoun, but this one becomes a possessive pronoun. So possessive can come later. We begin with this one. He is just a nominative pronoun. So you can go for that nominative pronoun first. Before you go for this his. That becomes a possessive pronoun. So you say Tom is a responsible boy. He goes to school early. And finally, his classmates love him because of his kindness. And our sentence is now, our paragraph is now complete. So let's go and choose the answers now. Roman 3, Roman 2, and lastly Roman 1. And there we already formed a correct paragraph as per our subtopic. Then go to number 2, where we have yes. Yes, you can go in. What can I do for you, sir? Be seated. Let me inform him. I want to see the manager. So as you can see it, Lana, there, we're going to go with, to begin with the noun. And the noun there is, you can see is I. So that sentence, you can say, I want to see the manager. There's a question there that someone is asking. What can I do for you? So that is going to be our sentence number 1. We are going to begin with, let me give them Roman numbers. 2, 3, and 4. So we say, what can I do for you? So that is Roman 2. We'll begin our sentence. What can I do for you? And then what will follow? Followed by number 4. That goes, I want to see the manager. Because somebody has just asked a question. And then this one comes to answer. You must answer that question first. So Roman 4 will come second. What can I do for you? You can see the noun coming there. I is just a noun. That is it is a nominative pronoun. Though we can refer to it as a noun in that manner. It replaces the noun. So what can I do for you? I want to see the manager. Then what follows? Then you come to say, be seated, let me inform him. So if the person is told you to just sit, be seated, as I inform him, that is Roman number 3. And then finally, automatically, we are remaining with, yes, you can go in. Yes, you can go in. So number 1 becomes last. Because that is the final thing he's telling you to do. Beginning with the question, what can I do for you? Then say, I want to see the manager. And finally, be seated, let me inform him. And finally, you can see, this must be the last one. You, yes, you can go in to see the manager now. So you go to your question, to your answers, and arrange them well the way you have identified them. Roman 2, 4, 3, and then finally, we have Roman 1. I want to give the last one, the last example here, to make you get it right. You can have this. Roman 1 will say, can I have your ID card, please? It's a question. Then Roman 2, we have what is your name? Use your name and occupation. Number 3, we have I want to stay. I want to stay here. I want to stay here. I want to stay here for a few days. Lastly, 4. Good evening. Good evening, madam. What can I do for you? So we can see, Lana, we have four sentences there. But we need to look at them keenly to see how we arrange them to give us that sentence. So as you can see there, we need to identify very quickly what to begin with. Look at them. Can I have your ID card, please? What is your name and occupation? I want to stay here for a few days. Good evening, madam. What can I do for you? That question will begin direct because we can see we have the main noun there, whom we are referring to. We are referring to that madam. So that is our noun, going to be our noun. So begin with number 1. We begin with that number, that is a noun that becomes our Roman 4 in that area. So we go to number 4 first. Good evening, madam. What can I do for you? After that, Lana, you can see very well, we need to put something. After madam, what can I do for you? Then madam answers. We'll go for the madam's answer. I want to stay here for a few minutes. And to see I then becomes a pronoun. A what? A nominative pronoun. So that is going to be our second one. Number 3 becomes, because it contains a pronoun, it becomes second. Roman 3. I want to stay here for a few days. Then what is the person answering? because they are talking, they are conversing. Number 2 becomes our next one. What is your name and occupation? The person answers, asks Madam again, what is her name and occupation? And finally, number 1 must come last, because that is the only one remaining. Can I have your ID card, please? Number 1 becomes the last one to appear there. What is your name and occupation? Can I have your ID card, please? So we can't say, can I have your ID card, please? Then come to what is your name and occupation. Because the name must be in the ID. So when the person has received the ID here, he can't ask the name again. Meaning the name must be asked first before asking the what? This one here. So number 1, number 4, then 3, because I want to stay here for, that is what he was answered here. That Madam was answered in this number 4. Then here, this one can't come before this. You can't say, you can't say, what is your name and occupation? You can't say, can I have your ID, then you again ask name, because the ID contains the name. So when the person is given ID, he's already satisfied. That's why he asks the name first. Maybe the woman didn't answer, then he asks now for what? For the ID. The answer becomes this: 4, 3, 2, and 1. There's something I didn't mention here. There may be a reason, like in that example 1, there was a reason why that boy is loved. That boy is loved because he is so generous. So the reasons may come after the pronoun. That one that contains a reason. Then the end sentence automatically, you can see the end sentence, and then when you look at the end sentence, consider time. Because maybe there is a sentence that goes that maybe somebody woke up early. Then later there's another sentence that entails he prepared. There's another sentence that says he was now on a journey. And then there is another sentence that crowns how his trip was. So you must know the time learner. You can't begin with somebody going on a trip, somebody waking up. Waking up must come earlier than traveling. You must follow your sentence according to time. That's why I'm saying consider time factor. Consider the time that the sentence may bear. And again, be very, very cautious of those sentences. Some may look very confusing to arrange, but you must be very cautious to identify few little things that I've just said here. Because this is the testing area. The noun will be considered, the pronoun will be considered, the reason will be considered. The end sentence, or you may look at time factor in that manner to make you identify the sentences well, to arrange them, but don't miss even a single mark as far as paragraph formation is concerned. So until next time, I want to wish you well. I'm going to give you some work to do later, and ensure that you be very, very cautious of whatever we have mentioned to enable you to get them correct. I want to wish you well.